My biggest fear for Donald Trump, and I'll be frank about it, is that I think there was one from Rutgers University that had a high number of left-wing people, self-identified, who had no problem seeing him dead. And when you have that publicized and you have all of that, he's an A this and he's this, and after 2 assassinations, you are sending a message to millions of crazy people, and there are millions in a nation of 345 million. And I'm afraid that that's going to happen again. They're going to try it again. I didn't understand this panic. We have been running a deficit for 50 years. And people will write me and say, well, Victor, it was pretty good when we were running deficits? Yes, but there were other factors involved. It wasn't that it was bad for everybody, but we were the reserve currency of the world, so we could print and do whatever we wanted. But the deficit was bad. And don't listen to poor Victor, the raisin farmer from Selma. Listen to Warren Buffett, who in 2003 said, if we don't address this, it's going to let them get investments here, and we're not going to get investments there. And he was against it. Why don't we get spokespeople in Europe, in India, in China, in Japan, and South Korea who say, we got to do what the United States has been doing? They are running the world, and it's because of that $1 trillion deficit. And 50 years they've run deficits, and we stupid people have been running these surpluses. We didn't understand it was hurting us, but we're all going to do. United States, would you please put tariffs on your products? Just think if the EU or the Japanese or the Canadians said this, please, we tried tariffs. You had deficits and you're richer than we are. So we're going to do what you do. Our goal is to run about, I don't know, $100, $200 billion deficit. You know why? Because we've learned from you. It'll make us more competitive. Kind of like creative destruction, and all these European steel companies and Japanese, they'll go out of business with foreign competition unless they get competitive. And when you guys dump all this stuff in and we have no protectionist tariffs or no tariffs, it'll make people get cheaper prices. And you know what else is going to be good? If you in America subsidize your exports like we used to do, you won't be able to afford it. We weren't able to afford it. So we're going to trade places with you. That doesn't happen, of course, because these people are not blank stupid. Who has a record of being more conducive, favorable to Wall Street? The opposition or Donald Trump? When he was president, the stock market jumped 65%. He deregulated. He had a calm foreign policy that there were not disruptions that would hurt the stock market. He was everything they wanted. So you're talking about a panic of investors, academics, media, professional class. So why are they panicking? And the answer is they are panicking. They panicked in 1929 when they got caught leveraging stocks. They got caught in 2008 when they were doing subprime mortgages. And they're just volatile people. And they don't understand that most people in the world, A, would rather have trade balance or surpluses, B, have protection and have been ripping the United States off, and C, will cut a deal. And it's the musical chairs mentality. And that is, when the music stops, everybody wants a chair to jump into the American economy. And those that don't cut a deal will be left out. He cuts a deal with Japan, South Korea, India, the EU, maybe even China. China today said they were willing to negotiate. And he gets near parity. So if the EU is running 200 billion or Japan is running 100 billion, he gets to something where it looks like it'll be maybe a $10 billion deficit. That one big deal will calm the stock market for good, and more importantly, it'll set off a stampede to make a deal. If you come in illegally, and if you break the law, nobody's trying to punish you. You just are returned and you have to get out. So what do I mean by that? I mean the following, that if I walk down my avenue and I go into somebody's without permission, and I'm eating dinner, and the person comes home and says, you've got to get out, and they call the sheriff, I don't think the sheriff's going to say we have to have a restraining order or an injunction to get Victor out of my house. I think they're going to say, who owns the house? They'll find out that I came in illegally, and they're going to say, you got to get out. They have in their mind there's only one way they can stop Donald Trump, and that is not through an election. They can impeach him, that didn't work. They can use lawfare, that didn't work. They can take him off the ballot, that didn't work. They can raid his home, that didn't work. They can try to kill him, they tried twice. They have no head anymore, they've lost their brains, and they're flapping around and they're moving, but they're not thinking. And they don't think about, is Trump better for Wall Street or worse than the alternative? Is Donald Trump good the first term? What is the data? What is the inflation rate? What is the oil price? What is the job growth? They don't think, oh my God, my investment, what am I going to do? Yep. Nobody's saying that we're protectionists. I'm just saying that Trump is going to win this trade war, and it's not even a trade war. He's going to win it for a variety of reasons. One, he's got the majority of the American people that it's not that they don't like stocks. They may look for a company and they say, I hope my company's stock is pretty good. They understand it's important. The stock market is for investment and their own jobs, but they don't sit by their phone and look at it every minute because they don't have any. They have 1%, 50% have 1% of the market capitalization, and the other 40% have about 6 or 7%. And they're more interested in jobs, and jobs are going up. And inflation is holding steady, and oil prices are going down, their gas bill. So they think it's pretty good. And that's funny, all these people are writing, this is the end of Trump, this is this. And all he has to do is cut a couple of big deals and start the stampede and not try to do 110% perfection the first round. Get the EU to really give us some good deals so we get that 200 billion down to 40 or 30, and then we'll go after them next year and say, you know what, that's not enough. We've got to get the value-added tax. My biggest fear for Donald Trump, and I'll be frank about it, is that I think there was one from Rutgers University that had a high number of left-wing people self-identified. We had no problem seeing him dead. And when you have that publicized and you have all of that, he's an A, this, and he's this, and after 2 assassinations, you are sending a message to millions of crazy people, and there are millions in a nation of 345 million. And I'm afraid that that's going to happen again. They're going to try it again.